It was a day that Jamal had been anticipating for months. At just 20 years old, Jamal was an ambitious young man who had spent countless late nights working double shifts to save up for his dream, a motorcycle. Not just any motorcycle, but a sleek, black cruiser he'd been eyeing in the window of a local dealership. For Jamal, the bike wasn't just a vehicle, it was freedom, a way to break free from the monotony of daily life and feel the wind rushing past him as he cruised down endless roads. As he walked toward the dealership, his excitement was palpable. Clutching an envelope filled with the money he had painstakingly saved, he imagined the moment he would finally ride the bike home. But Jamal had no idea that this day, which should have been a celebration of his hard work, would become a painful reminder of the prejudice still present in the world. The dealership was bustling with activity. Shiny motorcycles lined the showroom floor, their chrome finishes glinting under the fluorescent lights. Jamal stepped inside, his eyes lighting up as he spotted the bike he had come for, displayed prominently near the center of the showroom. He approached it with a mix of awe and determination, running a hand over the smooth leather seat. It felt real now, his hard work paying off. Before he could fully immerse himself in the moment, a voice interrupted him. "Can I help you with something?" Turning, Jamal saw a middle-aged salesman in a crisp polo shirt and slacks. The man's smile was tight, his eyes scanning Jamal with a look that made him feel immediately unwelcome. Despite the tension, Jamal remained polite. "Yes," he replied, his voice steady. "I'd like to buy this bike." The salesman's smile faltered. "That one?" he asked, his tone skeptical. "You sure about that?" Jamal blinked, caught off guard by the man's tone. "Yes," he confirmed, holding up the envelope of cash. "I've been saving for months for it." Instead of being met with congratulations or enthusiasm, the salesman's expression hardened. He crossed his arms, leaning slightly to one side, as if to size Jamal up. "Look," the salesman began, his voice dripping with condescension. "That's not exactly a cheap bike. Maybe you'd be more comfortable looking at something more affordable." The words hung in the air, sharp and stinging. Jamal felt his chest tighten, the weight of the insinuation clear. "I can afford it," Jamal replied firmly, his voice carrying an edge now. But the salesman didn't budge. "You don't understand," the man continued, his tone now bordering on dismissive. "We've had a lot of issues with people like you trying to get these bikes. Do you even have the right paperwork for financing? Insurance?" Jamal froze, the phrase, "people like you," echoing in his mind. It was subtle, but the intent behind it was unmistakable. His grip tightened around the envelope of cash as he took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "I'm paying in full," he said, his voice low but firm. "I've got everything I need right here." He held the envelope up as proof, but the salesman barely glanced at it. Instead, he chuckled dryly, shaking his head. "Listen, kid," the salesman said, his tone growing harsher. "This isn't about the money. This is about whether you're the right type of customer for a bike like this. Maybe you should try one of those used dealerships down the street. They might have something more your speed." The comment hit Jamal like a punch to the gut. He looked around the showroom, noticing how other customers were being treated, welcomed with handshakes and easy smiles, none of them subjected to the same scrutiny or dismissive remarks. For a moment, Jamal considered walking away. The humiliation, the anger boiling beneath his skin, it was almost too much to bear. But then he thought of everything he had sacrificed to be here, the long nights, the missed outings with friends, the determination that had kept him going even when it felt impossible. He refused to let this man take that away from him. Jamal squared his shoulders, meeting the salesman's gaze with unwavering confidence. "I've worked hard for this," he said, his voice steady despite the storm raging inside him. "I have every right to buy this bike, just like anyone else." If you can't treat me with the same respect you give your other customers, then maybe you're the one who doesn't belong here. His words cut through the air like a blade, drawing the attention of other customers and employees nearby. A young woman behind the counter looked over, her expression a mix of shock and discomfort. Before the salesman could respond, the dealership manager approached, alerted by the growing tension. The manager, a sharp-looking man in his early 50s, glanced between Jamal and the salesman. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his tone neutral but authoritative. Jamal explained what had happened, his voice calm but resolute. The manager listened carefully, his expression hardening as Jamal finished. Turning to the salesman, the manager's tone shifted. "That's not how we do business here," he said firmly. "You can take the rest of the day off." The salesman muttered something under his breath before walking away, his face flushed with embarrassment. The manager turned back to Jamal, his demeanor softening. "I'm so sorry about that," he said. "Let's get you set up with your bike." Though the apology didn't erase the sting of what had happened, Jamal nodded, grateful that someone had stepped in. As he signed the paperwork and prepared to ride home on his dream bike, Jamal couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions, relief, pride, and a lingering sadness that such moments still existed in the world. As Jamal rode his new motorcycle down the open road, the weight of the day still lingered in his heart. But instead of letting the pain consume him, he chose to reflect on the lessons it had taught him. Life isn't always fair, and prejudice can rear its ugly head in places where it's least expected. Yet, Jamal's story wasn't just about racism or adversity. It was about resilience, standing up for what's right, and believing in one's worth despite the odds. Jamal's experience reminds us of the importance of treating everyone with dignity and respect. It's a call to action for us all to stand against discrimination whenever we see it, to use our voices to challenge injustice, and to build a world where people are judged by their character, not the color of their skin or their background. If this story resonated with you, don't let it end here. Share Jamal's journey to inspire others to face challenges head-on and rise above hate. Leave a like to support the message. Subscribe to this channel to hear more powerful stories like this, and don't forget to share it with your friends and family. Together, we can spark conversations and change minds, one story at a time.